Hello everyone, welcome back to Chibi and Chill the Anime Podcast. This week, it's time to dive into the new Pokemon Legends game, Pokemon Legends Z-A, or Z-A, depending on how you kind of want to say it. There is a dash in between, and I'm never sure. People are saying it a lot of different ways, so we'll go with Z-A. It's a little bit easier to roll off the tongue. But this time, we're going to dive into everything we know so far about their new hit game. So it's not a mainline game, it's not a remake or Gen 10, not just yet, but it is a second installment of the Legends series. The first time we had Pokemon Legends Arceus, and that one became one of my favourite Pokemon games they've made because it really kind of shook up the style, the battle style, the layout, the style of a Pokemon game that we kind of know and love. So this time we're going to dive into everything we know, the release dates, the consoles it's coming out on, the location, the characters, the starter Pokemon, and everything in between. So if you're a fan of anime, Pokemon, merch, all that good stuff, you're in the right place. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you to everyone that is already a subscriber. Thank you so much for checking out this channel. Thank you for chilling with me. Let's dive into everything we know so far about Pokemon Legends Z-A. So, what do we know so far? So, let's go through the basics first, and then we'll dive into the more meaty stuff. So, we've got a release date or release time of late 2025. So, no date officially given out just yet, but late 2025. Traditionally, Pokemon games seem to come out around October, November time. So, it starts to become around that very, very late winter kind of time. So, I expect something around that kind of time, kind of tie in. I wish they released one in more September kind of time, but I think they'll stick to tradition and go with the November, October kind of release. I'd love a later October, but November seems the most traditional for the Pokemon companies to release their game. But the consoles themselves, so we've got late 2025, but we also know that Nintendo are releasing their Nintendo Switch 2 also this year. So we do get a little bit of a tighter time frame. We know that the CEO said that the Pokemon Legends Z-A will come out on the Nintendo Switch series or the Nintendo Switch systems. So that's both. So we do know we'll be getting a release on the Nintendo Switch 2, but also on the original Switch as well. So there's no need to rush out and pre-order or order the Nintendo Switch 2 in order to play Pokemon Legends Z-A. We know it will be coming on both consoles, so we're all covered. I have the OLED version and I absolutely love it, so it's kind of nice to know I don't have to rush out and have to get the new Switch in order to play this game. They're going to cover all Switch bases because they know how wide the fan base is, and there's quite a lot of consoles in that family now. So it will be coming out around that time of year. So as soon as we kind of get an inkling of the Switch 2 release date, that's a good indication of where we're going to be getting ZA as well. So let's go into the location. Now the location is one of the hotter topics for me because playing X and Y, I loved those games, but I struggle with the actual location. So the location is the Kalos region in X and Y, and it's Lumio City, and it's kind of like based on Paris a little bit, but it's a completely circular city. And this time we can't go out into the wild like in Pokemon Legends Arceus. This time we are kind of restrained into the city itself. We'll dive into that a little bit more. So it's undergoing a redevelopment since X and Y. So it's been a good couple of years. It's been about 10 years since we've been in the Kalos region. So since the events that took place in the first games, the city is going a redevelopment. So it's gotten a lot more modern, it's a lot more tech focused, a lot more sci-fi focused this time with the look of it. We've got a lot of holograms, we've got a lot more billboards, it's a lot more of a modern utopia kind of city, but with Pokemon injected in there as well. So the region includes the famous circular layout, which now includes wild zones, where you can encounter wild Pokemon within those areas like you would in the fields of a normal Pokemon game, and encounter these Pokemon in the wild, kind of up and out, kind of going about their Pokemon business, and like in Scarlet and Violet like you can now. So it's very, very similar, but it's all built up within the Lumio City wild zones. So it's a lot more focused, it's a lot more kind of restrained in those areas. So I think that'll be interesting to see how those areas kind of work and how many there are, because there's so many areas if you've got a wild open map for you to run around in. So how many wild zones do we have in order to encounter these Pokemon? But much like the original Pokemon Legends Arceus, it will be an open world game, and I'm so happy about that. I love the idea of the open world games. It opens them up so much. Scarlet and Violet have been a great hit, and they've been able to really kind of maximize on the new direction for our Arceus and how that kind of game set the Pokemon Company forward on their new games. And I think that'll be the new format going forward. But this one does change it up a little bit in terms of battle, but we'll go back into that in a little bit. But the landscape through the game though isn't flat, so we are restrained to Kalos City, Kalos region, the Lumos City. We are restrained to that, but we aren't just kind of like stuck to the floor like in the original ones. We can explore rooftops, and there is battles that can take place and events that can take place on those rooftops, which is crazy and kind of wild, and I'm super excited. This does mean that we can zip around the city like Spider-Man, looking like some kind of like zip line structure or something like that. We do see that in the trailer. But this does mean we get a much larger map area. So instead of it just being the flat like ground level, we do get the area above us as well. So I wonder how far does that expand? Does it expand into kind of more aerial kind of stuff? Can we do more aerial battles? That kind of stuff. A little bit like we saw you could throw a Pokeball in one of the areas in Pokemon Legends Arceus. There was that flying Gyarados over like the canyon, so how many things like that have they kind of tried out in the first game for us to bring that back into the second one? So I'm super excited to kind of see how that goes. The Pokemon battles on a rooftop look awesome. They look a little bit more restricted depending on the rooftop style. So let's dive into the battle situation of how that's kind of changing how we play Pokemon games. So obviously the main focus of a Pokemon game is to fill your Pokedex and catch as many Pokemon as possible within that Pokedex, depending on the type of game you get. The Legends games are a little bit different. It's more of a refined single Pokedex, so it gets a little bit easier to fill out. One of the most key areas of Pokemon game is battling. You want to battle trainers, you want to take on the Pokemon League, you want all those gym badges, and you want to be the best that there ever was. So one of the biggest updates coming to this game is the updated battle system. And this is quite different to what we know in a Pokemon game and what we've seen in the past generation. So with it being a Legends game, Pokemon are kind of using this new license and this new kind of series of games to try out new stuff. They're using it a little bit like the Guinea Pig series to try out new conventions, new gimmicks, new layouts, new structures, all that kind of stuff. And I'm so happy they've kind of got that kind of basis now, and they're kind of working to improve a tried and tested love for the series of games, but they know that the fans want more. They know we want more, and they know that we kind of want to have them test out new stuff, and I'm glad they've got Legends to do this with. So this means that they have, with the Legends games, it means it's a little bit less risk. If they tried out a load of new stuff on Gen 10, they could alienate and kind of shoot themselves in the foot with that. If people aren't happy with how the mainline series games end up, it could be a giant flop for them, and Pokemon is the biggest intellectual property in the world. It's the biggest. Well, like I think more people recognize Pikachu rather than they do Mickey Mouse nowadays, and that is huge for them. So they won't take a risk, but they will take a risk on a side game like Pokemon Legends, and see how these gimmicks play out and what people love, what they hate, and how they can reiterate that in the next one. So in the trailer, we see that throwing a Pokeball and Pokemon battles are completely redefined. So they're a lot more open world, they're a lot more live and almost like in real time, in for lack of a better way of saying this, but it's a lot more strategic. So this time we see a lot more of it in real time Pokemon battle, so you can throw a ball straight out a little bit like you could do in Legends Arceus, but it doesn't kind of load a screen or anything like that. It doesn't kind of like zoom in. You kind of see the Pokeball catch that Pokemon straight off the bat and fail right off the bat as well. So in the trailer, we see a character throw a Pokeball straight from the street, and it's the Pokemon's really far away, and it catches it straight away, and there's no load time at all. It just kind of happens there and then. And same with the battles as well. The battles are a lot more strategic. They're a lot more in real time instead of it having. They're not kind of out of real time now, but in the Scarlet and Violet games and in Legends Arceus, it will kind of zoom in on the Pokemon and then it will load up the kind of layout, your Pokemon get into position, that kind of thing. Whereas now, you can throw a Pokeball, you can go into battle, and it happens straight away from where you're standing and where that player's standing, where that Pokemon's standing, and you go straight at it, but you can run round, you can dodge attacks with your Pokemon, and it seems that Pokemon moves have now of a range as well, so if you're too far away, that move won't hit, or it will be less effective, or it will be more effective the closer you are. So it becomes a lot more of a investment to take on a Pokemon battle. Whereas now it's more how much power do I have, how much strategic kind of moves do I have on my move set for that Pokemon, or how many TMs can I teach it in order to get the most power going. Or that's how I play mine anyway. But I think that's a super interesting take, and it makes it a lot more dynamic, a lot more exciting, and a tad bit more stressful if we're honest. I will fail at this so hard in the beginning, and I can see myself getting quite stressed. But I'm super excited to try this new battle system. I think this is a great way for the Pokemon Company to really evaluate how Pokemon battles are done and make it feel a lot more like it does in the anime. I think that's the one thing I'm really excited for, is seeing how the battle system looks and feels like it does in the anime and the movies, and seeing that real life Pokemon experience that we all wish was real, and this is as close as I think we're going to get. So the hot topic that was revealed on Pokemon Day as part of this kind of big reveal trailer is the Pokemon starters that we'll be getting for Pokemon Legends Z-A. So this is a little bit controversial. A lot of people have had a lot to say about this, and it's kind of a bizarre choice from the Pokemon Company as well. We've got two Pokemon from one region and one from another, which is super strange. So the first one we've got is Chikorita, which is the Pokemon I'll be choosing in this game because I usually always go for either the water type or the grass type, and the grass type usually always wins. So Chikorita will be my choice for this game, and she is the grass starter Pokemon. This time in Scarlet and Violet, I chose Sprigatito, which was the grass starter as well. This one was introduced in Gen 2, so way back, and it's one of the first starters in Pokemon that we saw in Johto during Gold and Silver. So it's a real throwback Pokemon. So this grass type is described as a gentle personality who loves sunbathing. So if you love cozy, cute things, it'll be perfect for that kind of vibe for you. This does evolve into Bayleaf and then into Meganium as well. So it's a lot more kind of a floral kind of grass dinosaur kind of vibe, and I kind of love it for that. Totodile is your water starter. So this one is a lot more of a crocodile, and it's the most loved of all three starters, I have to say. It's the most one that has the most commercial love. This one also came out in Gen 2 as well, back in Gold and Silver, like we did last time. So same with Chikorita, these two are from the same generation, and it's bizarre, but we'll dive into that a little bit later on. The Pokemon has more of a rough personality and a tendency to bite, so be on the lookout for your fingers if you choose this partner. So super cute Pokemon. This one's the most lively and kind of like loud and boisterous one. This one evolves into Croconaw, and then evolves into Feraligatr as well. So this one, again, two-stage evolution because it's a starter. Finally, this is the one that's the most confusing element of this choice is Tepig. So we've got Tepig, which is your fire starter for this generation. But Generation 5 is when Tepig came out, which is a lot later than Totodile and Chikorita. So it's really strange that we've got two from one generation and one from another. I think that's something that a lot of people were kind of unsure about, whether they do three from three different generations, or people were kind of saying they would they ever choose two from one and one from another, and they've kind of proved us wrong, and they've done it. They've chosen two from one and one from another, and I'm super unclear as to why. I think one key factor in the fact that we don't have Cyndaquil in this game as your fire starter is because we already had the Hisui version of Cyndaquil over in Legends Arceus. So would they really do the same Pokemon twice? But then it's strange that they wouldn't kind of switch that up altogether and choose three from three different generations and still have two from one. I think that's super strange. There will be a reason somewhere down the line. I'm not sure what it'll be. But those are your three starters. There's Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. So three to choose from. I'll be choosing Chikorita as the grass type. Which one do you think you guys are going to go for? But let's go into Mega Evolution and see how what's confirmed and why it's returning. So, because we are returning to Lumio City, the Kalos region, and essentially X and Y, we are getting the return of Mega Evolution. Now, Mega Evolution was a huge gimmick for the Pokemon Company during this region and this kind of time. And it's the one that really kind of it introduced a lot of new players to Pokemon because they saw Pokemon that they were familiar to in a whole new light and a new kind of powerful way as well. So it became a really powerful gimmick for them, and we've got a return to that not only in this but also in the Pokemon trading card game as well. So we've got a Mega Evolution, a real push on this kind of gimmick now. So this was first introduced in Pokemon X and Y, and it will it will boost your Pokemon's power and change its appearance as well, with some of them looking absolutely insane. They look so strong, super powerful, super mean in some cases as well. And we'll show some of these on the screen. I'll put them up on here as well. But some of them look absolutely insanely good. I love like Lucario Mega Evolution. He looks so good. Venusaur's Mega Evolution looks awesome. Charizard, obviously, a staple Pokemon, so he gets two types, two different ones, and they both look absolutely awesome. So this one is, it can go beyond your Pokemon's normal level, they're like their normal top evolution, and allow them to be a lot more powerful, learn different moves, and really, really like turn the tide on a battle. This one, however, has changed a little bit during this game for Pokemon Legends, however. So whereas before you could kind of just mega evolve at a certain point, and that was you were kind of mega evolved. Now it's got more of a timer on it, so it looks like you can only mega evolve for a certain period of time during that battle or that particular battle. So that's an interesting gimmick that they've kind of reevaluated, so it doesn't become too top heavy, I guess, or too powerful for too long. So that's super interesting, and that again brings back that strategic kind of focus that they're really bringing into Pokemon Legends. So I wonder why they're making it so strategic. We've got the new battle system, and now we've got Mega Evolution, a timed gimmick. I wonder if this is something to do with more your competitive side of Pokemon for the championships, things like that. I wonder, right now they focus more on the kind of like the mainline games. I wonder if they're wanting to turn Legends into more of a Legends championship kind of vibe. It kind of suits the kind of vibe for Legends. You'll become a legend from winning the championship. So I wonder if that's the kind of big motive for the Pokemon games for Legends specifically. But we have had some specific key Mega Evolutions already confirmed through the trailer. So we've got Mega Charizard X, Mega Charizard Y, we've got Mega Kangaskhan, we've got Ampharos, Gardevoir, Sableye, Altaria, Absol, and Lucario as well. So we've got some really fan favourite Pokemon reveal in there. And I wonder, because they've got such a focus on Mega Evolution and these starters, I wonder if some of these will get some new Mega Evolution versions as well. So I wonder how many Pokemon, with it being a Legends game, I wonder how many Pokemon will be in the the Pokedex itself. But I wonder how many new Pokemon we'll get. So in the Hisui region for Pokemon Legends Arceus, we got a good chunk of new regional type Pokemon. So I wonder how many of the regional type Pokemon we'll get for the Kalos region in the new version of X and Y essentially for Legends Z-A. So I wonder how much will this kind of alter the region and how much has it kind of jumped forward. We've seen this is the Lumos City in the future, so there's a lot of time for a lot more of a futuristic twist on Pokemon, a little bit like we've seen with the Paradox Pokemon for Violet. And I wonder how much they'll twist that to kind of bring it almost in line with that a little bit. But there's plenty to dive into. I think as we kind of go into the kind of run up to this game, we'll see a lot more of the Pokemon Presents, we'll see a lot more trailers, a lot more Pokemon being revealed. And that is the best bit when you see this new Pokemon starting to come through, even if it's a regional variant. Sometimes that's the best bit, is seeing these new Pokemon coming through. But let's dive into the characters that we'll meet and kind of wrap up. So one of the Pokemon that we will meet as part of one of our character lineups will be Zygarde. And Zygarde is one of the legendary Pokemon, and there's been a little bit of a focus on Zygarde for a couple of years. And we've seen a lot more of him kind of dotted around in some kind of like booster boxes, things like that. But Zygarde is more of a Dragon Ground legendary Pokemon, and it's a lot more futuristic in its kind of makeup and how it's actually kind of composed, I guess. So he was first introduced in the 6th generation, and he's a major player in the Pokemon series XY. There's a huge push on that. So Zygarde is made up of a multitude of cells-like components, and it changes form depending on how these components have gathered together and how many kind of form. So this one has the Zygarde cores, which look like a little Pokemon themselves. They've got like a little face and they're a little bit like a blob-like, but they're green with like white eyes, and you kind of have to go around and collect these to kind of complete Zygarde, I guess, and complete his mission, I guess. So I think this will be interesting. I think because we've got the ground level and the kind of the rooftops as well in Legends, I think this will be a key area of having to find all 100 Zygarde cells to kind of complete a mission or one of the storylines. So no Pokemon game is complete without the character roster that we meet, and I love the idea of this one. This one has really kind of piqued my interest. The Legends game last time, because of all the heritage with it, really became something more special, and it's no different for ZA. So Pokemon Legends has some returning characters for us, but it also got some new ones. So as revealed in the Pokemon Presents trailer, the ZA game will feature now a returning mysterious, very tall man, known as a Zed, who is partnered with a blue Floette. Now, this, if you played the X and Y games, you'll recognize him. He looks super similar, and I believe from memory he was the old king in X and Y, and he has the eternal blue floette, and that floette is in this game as well. So I'm super excited. He now runs the hotel in Lumio City, so a little bit of a demotion there. But I'm interested to see what his kind of storyline is. I doubt he'll do just run a hotel. I think there'll be something a lot more along his motives and what he wants to do, or kind of get back to his former glory, I guess. I'm excited to see what AZ does. So we've also got the Quasartico Inc. So players will meet the CEO of this company and their assistants during their travels, and will seemingly take on research and development tasks for them. Although it remains to be seen whether this company does them for good or for something more dark with their intentions. So I think this will be interesting to see how Quasartico does actually go about, how we help them, or how we kind of stop them, I guess, from doing what they want to do or what they think is best. So I think there'll be something to do with the generation of the Lumo City, how it's kind of built, and what their kind of plans for the city are. They kind of it. I get the vibe that they run the city now, and I feel like AZ wants to help. I kind of feel like he wants us to help him stop Quasartico, but he's a little bit past his time. He doesn't really know how to do it, and he kind of sticks to running his hotel until we come along. So I think that's kind of storyline that we're going to go for. But a great cast of characters. There is a boy and a girl, a kind of rival or companion as well, that you'll meet depending on who you choose as your kind of character in the game, and they look really great. Yeah, a great little cast of characters. There's a lot more to meet as we kind of go through the year, so there's so many more characters to be revealed, so keep your eye peeled for more characters throughout the year. So far, that is everything we know about Pokemon Legends Z-A. There's actually a lot to unpack in one Pokemon Presents, so I'm super excited to see how that kind of grows and develops throughout the year. We got until late 2025, so way until that November kind of time, to get all of this content kind of pieced together, get the storyline, get the new Pokemon, get the new characters, that kind of thing. So I'm super excited to see how that kind of develops. I loved the original Pokemon Legends game. Yes, part of it I kind of loved because it kind of had that old Japan, ancient kind of history of Pokemon kind of vibe, and I was super into that. I'm hoping that the future version of Lumio City will drag me in as much as Hisui did, but I'm super excited to have a new battle system, the new city, the new kind of I love the kind of nostalgia of returning back to a region in a new kind of era and seeing how Pokemon kind of reevaluate and kind of redesign the areas based on how they are today and what their focus is as Pokemon, I guess. I'm excited to see how it kind of changes and develops. Let me know in the comments or in your review of this episode what you think we'll kind of expect from Pokemon Legends Z-A and how it's kind of going to adapt. How are they going to keep going with this? I'm kind of excited to see what more gimmicks we're going to see. But if you've liked this episode, please do like and subscribe. It really does help support the show. Thank you again to everyone who already is a subscriber. Thank you for chilling with me. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me talking about Pokemon and all that good stuff. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. See you later. Bye bye, guys. Are you looking to bring the taste of Japan to your doorstep? Then take a look at Boxu, the ultimate Japanese snack box. Every month, Boxu delivers an amazing selection of authentic Japanese sweets, snacks and treats handpicked just for you right to your door. From crunchy and sweet treats that tell more of an exciting story, capturing the unique flavours of Japan, perfect for discovering something new or sharing with your friends, having a movie night or watching your favourite anime. With Boxu, every snack box includes the snacks, but also a booklet to tell you all about the culture, this theme for that month, and more about the snacks themselves, including nutrition info, the background and how they're made and who they're made by. Are you ready to snack your way through Japan? Sign up today for your first box, A Taste of Japan, at boxu.com, and use the link down below to shop your first box, and let them know that Chibi and Chill the Anime Podcast sent you over. Head over to the link down below in the YouTube video or the podcast description to let them know that Chibi and Chill the Anime Podcast sent you over, and enjoy A Taste of Japan every single month with Boxu. Experience Japan through snacks with Boxu.